Branden here, and time for more Branden's Boy Problems. I finally went to Europe. I've been waiting my entire life to go to Europe. I've been obsessed with France, French history, monarchs, and everything since I was a child. So this is a lifelong dream come true. I was supposed to go to Europe back in 2020, and then COVID happened. So this was finally my chance to experience what life was like across the pond. I went to London, Paris, and Madrid. And of course, as I love to do on every trip I take, I have to hook up with the locals. In London, I did find a guy I met at the club GAY, which to me was the most famous gay club in London. So I was like, oh my God, I have to check this out. I loved it. It was big. It had lots of dancing. It had lots of like the British Euro pop that I love that never gets played in America. Like, I love GAY. Like, that is my favorite club. I feel like my entire trip in Europe, though there were some clubs in Madrid that may have given it a run for its money, but GAY was just like a fun, good time. I just hate how, like, the only weird things were like, they do have like a younger drinking age in Europe. So it's like some guys in the club could be like really young. It was kind of scary if you are looking to like meet people, hook up. Cause then I was like, felt like I was like flirting with him one time, but I was like, I don't know how old this guy is, but I did meet this really cute guy. He was like big, 6'6", black guy. I instantly spotted him because he was definitely the biggest guy in the club, and I only like big men. And surprisingly, the UK, I feel like online, as someone that likes bears, I've seen lots of like British bears or British bear events. So, like, I would think they would like more attractive bear options in London, but surprisingly, I wasn't that impressed with what I was seeing online on like the dating apps and whatnot. But I found a guy in person at the club, and he definitely was like very Americanized, I feel like in the way that black American men are, and that he had like the fake teeth and veneers, which like everyone is getting. And like, I mean, at first I was like, ew, I hate fake teeth, this is so stupid. But then it's like, now it's just becoming such a common thing where it's just kind of like, okay, whatever, fake teeth is better than bad teeth because I hate people with bad teeth. So it's just something you have to accept now. Lots of people are getting their teeth done, and I mean, I guess it is better than having bad teeth. So it looks good, decent. I mean, some people's do look too big or too fake, but his were fine. And he also had those like big, ugly ass Balenciaga shoes that I hate, but that is what a lot of the black men, especially the black gays, are buying. So, common occurrence. He also, biggest turnoff though was that he had a fucking smoking addiction. Like, but that's like a big thing in Europe. Like, cigarettes are everywhere. Like, people just love smoking cigarettes there. But like, I honestly didn't know that weed was illegal in like most of Western Europe. I feel like the Netherlands might be one of the only countries where it's legal to smoke weed. But like, I was shocked because I thought like London, Paris, Madrid would all be way more liberal than that, but apparently not, because weed's illegal, so everyone's still smoking cigarettes, and every venue and place has like a smoking section, smoking area, which is crazy to me. But because in America it's like, ew, smoking's disgusting, why do you still do that? But like, we can smoke weed here and not get in trouble, but there you would get in trouble. So the smoking habit was bad, but otherwise we had a great time, great chemistry. I really like him. I feel like out of every guy I met in Europe, my British bae was definitely the one I would most likely date, even though he's like in another country across the world. But like, he says he wants to come to America, and I definitely would love to go back to London. Like, I had a great time in London. I feel like out of every city, I mean, of course it's easier to navigate a city where you speak the language, but I liked London. I had a really great time, and I'm glad I met someone. Paris was the most disappointing, and Paris was the city I was most excited to go to since I've been obsessed with France since I was a kid. I have like little Eiffel Towers all over my room. I like started speaking French, and like, I've just always been obsessed with France, Paris, Marie Antoinette, whatever. I'm glad I got to do all the sightseeing. Like, Paris is a beautiful, gorgeous city. It has the most for sightseeing, statues, monuments, like historical stuff, the Eiffel Tower. Like, there's so many beautiful, picturesque moments in Paris, but beyond that, it's like, the male selection is so disappointing. Like, another thing I noticed in Europe, especially like, I mainly do date and hook up with black men, but like, I mean, black gays are few and far between in Europe. And a lot of the ones there are white only, which I feel like, I mean, I don't blame them because I used to be the same way in my younger years. I feel like it is definitely like when you're black, but you grew up around all white people, you're naturally going to be more attracted to white people because it's like, that's what's around you. It's like, I'm not going to be like, no, I only like something that is nowhere to be found. It's like, no, I'm going to be attracted to what is in my surroundings. And a lot of the European black gays are definitely quick to say like their preference is white men. And honestly, it's like, I don't get offended by that or bothered because honestly, I used to prefer white men as well. I mean, I used to be into like everything, but in the past few years, I definitely have been more into black men. I've only been in relationships with black men. I've have mostly hooked up with black men in the past few years, and definitely my preference is black men, but like I'm still open-minded to other races and whatnot. It's like I'm attracted to you, but my preference is black. But Paris, there's lots of black people, but it's like even a lot of the hot black men I saw were in relationships with like ugly white women, and like that was in Paris and London. Like it was very common, like more common than not. Like it was rare. Like I was pleasantly surprised whenever I saw like a black couple, just because it was so rare to see two black people together. It was mostly all like interracial, but like I just was not into the French men, and sadly that stereotype is so true that Parisians stink. Like they do not use deodorant. Like it was so bad, like everywhere, and everyone's smoking cigarettes. Like I went to the bathhouse one night and the entire water in the hot tub smelled like cigarettes, and they even have a smoking room inside the bathhouse for that. Like people are so addicted to cigarettes, which is disgusting. But yeah, Paris just was not it. I did meet a guy on Grindr. He was like a nice like black bear chub, and like we went out to a couple bear bars, so that was fun. We got to know each other, and he did speak English, and he did try teaching me some French. Even that, like, yeah, I definitely have a lot to work on with my French. Like I have enough to get by, but like I definitely need more practice with my French by my next trip to Europe. But he was great. The sex was amazing. We had great chemistry, lots of passion, making out. He was like an amazing lover. He definitely was like fatter than I normally would go for, but I was attracted to him, like especially in his face, and like he's a great kisser, great chemistry. So like I enjoyed my time with him. I had a great time with him. It's just like Paris just was not my scene. It just was not it. And I went to like a gay bar like the first night, and it was like what you would think of as like Euro club with like shirtless men and like dancing and definitely lots of body odor. But like even there, it was like I wasn't really seeing guys that like I'm genuinely attracted to, but it's like I also do like big beefy men, and it's like that was so hard to find in Europe, and I kind of expected that before I got there. But like I guess when I was actually there, I was like, oh wow, there's like really not much to choose from here. And I did encounter like other black Americans that were in Paris, and like a lot of people I was meeting were like, I love Europe, I want to move here, it's so much better than America. And I'm just kind of like, I know for a fact I would never want to live here just because there are no dating options for me. Like, again, I like a big, beefy, black man. Like, and that was just nearly impossible to find. I mean, I did find some to interact with, but it's also like, you don't want to move somewhere where there's like maybe 5 guys that are your type in the entire city. And there's like, you don't even know if they're all like tops or your type or into you, or maybe they only like white boys. So it's just kind of like, I would never set myself up for that type of failure. But like they were loving Europe, but I did just notice that like the black gays I was meeting that were in Europe and loving it to the point where they were like, I want to move here, we're definitely the type that are like nothing into black men. It's like, I can date interracially only. And I'm just like, I did that for most of my life already, and honestly, I don't want to go back to that, especially since like I've never even had a relationship with guys that weren't black. Like it never even got that far. So I'm kind of just like, my preference is definitely black men, but Europe was a fun time. I liked it. It's just Paris and London were not the cities that would be fruitful for my dating or my sex life. I definitely prefer America, where I definitely have way more options in terms of men, especially black men, and don't have to deal with like every black man only likes a white man. I mean, we had that in America too, but it's really just not like as prevalent or discouraging as it is in Europe. But thanks for joining me for this episode of Branden's Boy Problems. How do you work